All right, we are back live for another monthly No Bondcast live webinar. Gosh, I am excited to share this man's genius with you, with the world, with the Beck Bodie family. I'm excited to share my friend Anthony Seratelli. I was thinking about this. We've been going on almost 2 decades of friendship.
No way.
Which is a wild number to say.
That is wild.
Yeah, it is wild.
Time flies. That's crazy.
Yeah. Yes. Now, I'm going to give you a little background on Anthony, but what I'm excited about is this guy that you're staring at on your screen epitomizes what a high performer, high achiever, top performer, whatever the terminology you want to use, what they look like and how they live. So we have an opportunity to get inside this guy's mind. And that's going to kind of be the overarching theme of our conversation is, what makes somebody like Anthony tick. But before I get into that question, don't answer it yet, because I need to do you justice on at least a little bit of an intro. Okay, we're going to talk. It is baseball season. We're going to talk about baseball. This guy played 10 years professionally. He played overseas in Japan. When his career was done, he went into entrepreneurship. He's interviewed and worked with names that are household names. That's Peyton Manning, Cam Newton in the baseball world, Aaron Judge, Eric Hosmer, Giancarlo Stanton. In the social world, Lele Pons, she has nearly 100 million followers. If you guys are into football and you listen to podcasts, you might have heard the I Am Athlete podcast. Anthony produces that. That alone has had 153 million impressions just last month. Okay, he works with people for that. Brandon Marshall, Ocho Cinco, Hall of Famer Fred Taylor. He's had 1 billion impressions in his video production work to date, or in a year, hundreds of millions of views. This guy is operating at high levels wherever he goes. So this is my friend, Anthony Seratelli.
Trying, man. I don't know how it happens, to be honest with you. And maybe we'll discover that today in this conversation. Maybe it's, bringing nice aroma, flowers, like these type of things to your life can help these things happen. But thank you for the intro. That was very, very nice. And it's weird to even hear some of it because you don't realize when you're in the thick of things sometimes. And I'm in the thick of a lot of stuff right now that is, kind of taking off and helping my career take off as well. And you stop and look around, which doesn't happen very often. It should happen more. But in these moments, when you get to speak to somebody and they're kind of trying to gather your accolades, you're like, holy crap. Like, that's a lot of stuff. I can't even believe that. Like, I didn't know, like we had to look that up. Those numbers, I don't know those numbers off the top of my head, right? What kind of views are you getting? You asked me, before this thing. And I just looked up some quick numbers because, we can view those analytics and metrics on YouTube and all those things. And just looked at the last month, it popped up 150 million impressions. I was like, what? I had no idea. Like, I know we're doing well, but I had no idea we're doing even that well sometimes. So, and that might allude to some of the things we'll talk about later, but like, you get caught up in loving what you do and so focused on what you're doing, those things just kind of happen when you put all the pieces in place, I guess. So it's more about focus on the process, in my opinion, which we've always done through baseball. And now it's carried right into my business career. Focusing on the process will render results. You don't even have to think about that. So anyway, let's maybe ask me more specific questions because I could go, I can go anywhere from here.
Let me start big, and then I do want to get into baseball, and we are an investment firm, so I do want to talk money. And I know we've spoke earlier, and you're okay with, I won't go anywhere we can't go, but help me understand why, like what makes you go? Like you made it to that high of a level in the almost the MLB, it's the MLB of Japan, okay? Mm-hmm. And then, which statistically odds are way against you, but you push for it. Then you go and start a business, which statistically will fail 80% of the time in the first year, I think. But you go for it, and now you're crushing here. Like, what makes you tick?
I've never, and this has to do with family and what you're surrounded by growing up as well. But I've always had the opportunity to do things I want to do and things I love to do. But as nice as that sounds, and people be like, oh, you're very privileged and very lucky to have those situations, which I am. It wasn't just handed to me though. It's just that I had the support. So even though I've had good opportunity to kind of take chances and try to attain these high goals, it was still something inside of me, like you're saying, what is it that just made me want to do these things and go for them? And I don't know, and I didn't know throughout those times like what it was, but I do realize more so now that I can't do something I don't want to do. It doesn't sit well with me, and I understand situationally a lot of people have to. Look, even some of the work I do now, I don't want to do all of it. Some of it's not as fun as the others. Yeah, I get to meet Peyton Manning and Aaron Judge. Those are fun. Those are the really fun moments. Those last for 20 minutes. Those guys don't stick around very long. So it's not like I'm hanging out with them all day. With the podcast, which is, if anyone's seen that, we do get to hang out with those guys more, which is cool. I get to see them almost on a weekly basis, and we're producing an hour-long show. We shoot 2 or 3 at a time. So everyone's around for a few hours. I work a lot with Brandon on other stuff. So there are times where I get to relish in these things. But there's a lot of times where I realize like, I'm glad I'm doing this because I see some of the things I don't want to be doing. And I'm like, man, I can't do it. I physically can't do it. Like, yes, if I had to, I'd mentally buckle down and make things happen. But if I have any type of opportunity, if I had just this much chance to go try and do something I want to do, I'm going to chase it. And if I don't get there, that's fine. But if I don't get there, and like, I'm probably going to find the next thing that is like just below that to make me as happy as I could be. Because I mean, dude, life's short. We know this.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's just a mindset. It's just a mindset that I just have. I didn't try to have it. I wasn't taught it. I don't think. Maybe it's like, from your family. But look, everyone has, well, not everyone, but people have siblings. Not everyone's the same. Not everyone's wired the same, even if you come from the same blood, is where I'm going, right? So it's just the way I am. And my mindset is to go after things I want. And I'm not scared to fail. If I do, so be it. I'll try the next thing. As long as I can support myself financially, which we'll get into. As long as I can support myself even the littlest bit, I'm not accustomed to, private jets and suites at hotels. Like I can still, slum it in the back, if you want to call it that, and stay at a Motel 6 if I had to. I don't care, because I'm doing the things I want to do. So I don't know. It's just being wired a certain way, which I do think can be taught, or be turned on. Let's say that. I think everyone has it in them. Just has to be turned on. I just don't think people know how to get to it.
Man,
and I'm not a like psychologist or anything, so I couldn't teach that, but I believe that. So
I love that. And gosh, you're already starting with so many good things we could unpack. I mean, the not scared to fail piece really stood out. Otherwise, why would you go against those odds your entire life to date, literally? Yeah. But I want to go back. You started on the financial side, and I love that. And let's go there since it's baseball season. Can you share with the world what the glamorous life of being a professional athlete is like, specifically the minor leagues? And for anybody that doesn't know, Anthony and I played together in the professional ranks. We both were in the Royal system. He hung on for 10 years playing pro ball, 9 in the minors, right? And then 1 in Japan, which is an incredible, and I don't mean this insensitively, but you're basically a dinosaur after like 3. So I was a dinosaur for a couple of years, and I don't know what you should be extinct and come back by then. Like it's an incredible journey. Yeah. Will you share with the world what like the climb is like in the minor leagues, what levels there are, and more importantly, what you get paid as a minor leaguer?
Yeah. The levels, there's a lot of them, right? And well, it's changed a little bit. It has changed a little bit because of COVID, and I think they've gotten rid of some teams. And I don't know the system that well at this very moment, but let's talk about when we were in there. And this is no different a year and a half ago, right? Now it's different, but and that means there might just be 1 or 2 less teams. But it used to be, I mean, let's go all the way down the levels, right? You have Venezuela, Dominican leagues, and the Arizona League, which are all short season, like low level rookie ball teams. You got a lot of young guys, 16 years old type high school kids. at those levels. And obviously the Venezuelan Dominican leagues have mostly Venezuelan Dominican players that we pull from here in America. So that's 3. Then you have 2 short season teams, or 3 short season teams. Correct me if I'm wrong, Matt. We had Idaho, we had Burlington, North Carolina at that time, and Arizona. Yeah. So two more. That's 5 rookie ball teams. That's all short season, 5 rookie ball teams. You have 2 A ball teams that are full season, right? Low A, high A, double A, triple A. 9 levels prior to getting to the big leagues.
Yeah, the ultimate goal.
So I don't think people know that.
No.
although let's be realistic. You come out of college, very, very likely you could possibly start in at least short season. If not, if you're higher up, go right to low A, potentially, right? So you're skipping 5, 6 levels. So
right, but you're not like to the big leagues.
Not even close.
Not like AAA big leagues done. Yeah.
Not even close. I mean, getting past that A ball stage and even getting to double A is a massive jump that most people don't get to, right? I actually remember rookie ball, and I don't want to linger on this too long, but in short season ball, there are however many guys on the team, 25-ish. One of our pitching coaches said to the pitchers, only one of you, and they pointed him out. I'll say Greg Holland because he's a star. Yeah. He's like, only one of you are going to make it out of here. I think 2 of them did, but I think by the time we were in double A, from that team was like a total of 4 of us.
Yeah.
From that specific team, 5 years later, that had gotten anywhere past A ball. And I think I might be saying too far. It might have been the next year, only like 4 of us got out of there. It's not that many that get even out of rookie ball to get to the A ball teams. Then to double A, triple A is just like, it's very difficult. So there's a lot of steps. There's a lot of money involved. So if you're not a big guy, if you're not a big sign, you got to work around them. You're not getting as many opportunities. And I don't say that in a bad way. It's business. I understand it. I wasn't a money guy. I had to wait my turn, or I had to figure out how to play every position on the field to stay on the field. I couldn't just play short. I couldn't do that. Like that, It wasn't going to work. I wasn't going to stick around. We had big money guys there. So how do you play first base when you're 5'11"? I don't know. I'll try it. So and it worked. So wherever I can go. So that's the true path, which isn't easy. And then monetarily, it's even worse if that's possible.
Share it.
So I did start in indie ball, which I made a whopping $600 a month my first season. And I remember
for how many months?
It's 72 games, so probably about 3 months.
So $600 a month for 3 months.
$1,800 that year for playing baseball. Anyway. So I remember re-signing with them because I hadn't signed with the Royals yet. But I did that winter. But as I'm re-signing my contract with them, they're like, I want to raise, I got to get more money. And I went from 600. I think actually I might be wrong. It might have been 650 because I remember 700, going up to that next. They gave me a raise to 700, and they were going to give me my own sandwich at the concession stand. And I was like, I'm in. Sign me up. I went for it. That was the kicker. When they told me that, I was like, yeah, definitely. I have my own sandwich.
And a sandwich.
I can barely purchase any, but I'll put my name on the board there. That'd be awesome. Yeah. So I take that deal, and then thankfully signed with the Royals, which releases my contract. They actually get paid for it. I don't even know. It's maybe $1,000, whatever it is. That team gets paid for it, go to the Royals. And then you sign your first professional contract. I don't even know how that's right. I'm playing professionally indie ball, right? But your first affiliated contract is 7 years long. Yeah. And it's not lucrative. It's actually the opposite of lucrative, if there's a word for that. It's very structured, and I couldn't tell you the numbers exactly, but I'll get close here. I think rookie ball might have been 1,100 or 1,150 in the a month, low levels, and you play 5 months.
For 5 months, you don't get
maybe
paid.
maybe half a month more if you go to the playoffs, which we did. Most years, actually, every year with the Royals, we had fun there. Good. So I made a couple extra months, tack that on to my huge salary. So I think it was 1,100, 1,150 early on. And then let's go all the way up to AAA quickly here. I think it's 2,150 a month. Mm-hmm. And that was man, I'm killing it.
That's 5 figures. You made it to 5 figures with
That's
that.
5 figures. Yeah.
Salary.
So 5.5 months, we might be pushing maybe 12 grand for the year.
Yeah.
So that was cool. And that happened for the first 7 years of my career, which is actually less likely than getting to the big leagues. So let me note that I've done some things that are more statistically difficult than getting to the big leagues in my career, and no one understands that. And I'd like to talk about it. So let's talk about a 7-year contract as a minor leaguer. Very, very few, less people than that make it to the big leagues get through all 7 years without getting released or cut, whatever you want to call it, getting to the big leagues, or even just getting put on a 40-man roster, which takes you off your minor league contract, right? There's a lot of detail to that. I don't think we need to go into, but those are the things that can happen. And none of them happened. So I wasn't good enough to get to the big leagues, apparently. I wasn't good enough to get put on a 40-man roster, and no one was going to steal me from the Royals through a Rule 5 draft. And I wasn't bad enough to get cut. So to live in that range is almost impossible. It's almost impossible. And I did that. Proud of it. So it hurt me in this financially, because I didn't start with the Royals till I was 24. So that's another story. I started a little late. So I didn't get to the Royals till I was 24, which means 6-7 years. I'm 30, making less than 12 grand a year for the last 8 years of my life.
It's awesome.
We can talk about that later if it's awesome or not. But so then finally, an opportunity to make money comes up because my contract is over and I'm a free agent. And now I can negotiate my own contract. So that was a fun year for me. I played well coming out of that. I'm in my prime of, like, if not about to go downhill. It's because I'm 30 already and just playing out my first contract. But I was one of the most sought after free agents, minor league free agents, and got calls from like Terry Collins and Joe Madden. It was super cool. Like that was the most exciting moment of my life. Mets and Rays at the time. I had like 10 teams calling.
Yep.
And it was fun to just figure that out and figure out where to go. And it came down to going to the Mets. I wanted to be near home. I thought it'd be super cool to play in New York, and I signed with them. I go to camp. I negotiated my deal, trying to figure out a big league, my big league contract if I get there versus my minor league P2, your paragraph 2 salary, which is your minor league salary. And that was super fun. Like, oh my gosh, I'm like talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars, or even the minor league deal. Man, we could talk about this. This is because not even all these numbers didn't even happen necessarily, but like my big league deal at the time, I think minimum was 550 for the year. And I negotiated like 585 or something, which is like what Aaron Judge got in his second year. Right. So I negotiated a higher rate for my first year in the big leagues had I been there. And negotiated for a minor league deal was about 80,000, which was about what I made the previous 7 to 8 years.
Yep.
So to me, I mean, I'm swimming in it.
Yeah.
And I'm making a very, I don't want to say average because it's above average, but a little slightly above average salary finally at 31 years old, going to my 30s on a minor league contract and hoping to get to the big leagues to make that, that bigger payday. So that's what it's like trying to get through a minor league contract. And then, so I get that. We'll talk, that's this whole nother thing, injuries, trying to get to the big leagues there, doesn't work. Last cut of spring training, wore number 2 the year Derek Jeter retired across town. So I had number 2 on my back in New York the same year he retired, and he was my idol growing up. So that's awesome. Almost that alone is worth it. Like that story, and no one else can say that. No one else can say that. In spring training, they wore number 2 across town from Derek Jeter the year he retired. So that is another thing I will hang on my wall. I have to like pat myself on the back for some things because I didn't get to the big league. So, but then, an okay season, found out about some injuries, and I had Japan calling the year before too, and they were still interested the following year. So I got to do that, and that's where I finally made some real money, had to deal with my injuries, and just my arm went downhill and I couldn't make it anymore. But that was more like a big league contract. Very close to what I would have made with the Mets going overseas, and it was guaranteed. So that was a nice payday to finally like round out a 10-year career, which made my 10-year average about $70,000 or $80,000. Wow! So amazing. Thankfully, that time became a very normal job, that I enjoyed very much and chased a dream. And I got it all at the end. So I was able to now take that and put it right into my new career. And I quickly did that. And now I'm 5-6 years into this and trying to get back to those numbers financially. It's tough. It's a completely different world, but
Amazing.
a challenge
Thank you.
nonetheless.
Thank you for sharing all of that. And it's all spot on. As it relates to money, you're literally in every end of the spectrum, from literally not even 5 figures for a year to more than $500,000 in your bank account for a year, and everything in between. And then you start your business and you might even be negative because you actually have to put your own money in so that others can keep food on their table. As the business owner, that's on your shoulders. Like, what role does your relationship with money play in your entire career, your entire life?
You're absolutely right. The first year out of making a substantial amount of money, I went negative because I had to put money into the company, and I didn't get all the business I would love to the first year. Who does, right? So that was a complete swing from like I made the most I've ever made to actually making the least I've ever made. Even on my $600 a month deal was more than I made going into business because I had to spend so much money to start it. So my relationship with money is mentally challenging. At the most, I'd say. Like, thankfully, I've been able to manage it, that I don't really stress about it. So it's more mentally challenging to see the dollars go up and down than it is to physically manage it. If that makes sense.
Got it. Yeah. I want to hear like where you're going, because it sounds like, and we've talked about this too, it sounds like you're chasing a never-ending finish line. And the big struggle I see, with myself included, but people who want to reach big dreams and then bump up against it, the finish line moves forward and it feels like a lonely place where they're just constantly chasing something. How do you balance chasing a continual bigger dream and actually enjoying where you are today?
I don't know yet.
Okay.
I'm trying to figure that out. I don't know if I think I do it, but I get scared of that very thing you're talking about. Will I ever be satisfied? What's the end goal for me? I think with baseball, it was so structured. It was almost easy to see that, I want to get to the big leagues, right? So the end goal was there. Even if I got to the big leagues, or anyone gets to the big leagues, I'm sure that's still not your end goal. It's like, now I want to stay in the big leagues, which is another challenge in itself. And then let's get that big contract. I would imagine at that point, now it's just like trying to be the best player you could possibly be and put yourself in the Hall of Fame or something, like what else is there to do at that point, right? It's almost like you've run out of what else you can attain besides being the greatest player ever. Right. So that's what you chase, only one person could really do that. So, that's almost an not that any of these goals are very easily attainable, but that's so unattainable. It's just like, okay, let me try it. And if you don't, of course you didn't get there, right? But these other ones are attainable, or more so attainable. So you try to chase them. But I just feel like there was an end. There was some sort of end somewhere. Whether you can get there or not, it's a different story. With business and life now, I don't know what the end is. I think even if I were to build a business that I can exit, which you would think might be the end goal, let me get that big payday and get out, I think I'd start another one. So I don't know that would be the end for me. I think it would be more so just a balance of what you're saying, trying to figure out how to balance what I'm doing with life. So if I was able to build an exit, maybe then I would hire or start a new company and hire the team that I want from the get-go, as opposed to this one's like bootstrapping. I got to figure it all out myself, trying to get the people around me. We'll grow that, but next time, maybe people believe in me, I can get investors, and I can more so oversee, as opposed to really being in the mud. So it might be a different journey, which would be enjoyable. And maybe I could enjoy, I don't want to say this like I don't enjoy life, but like maybe I could enjoy my time a little bit more, as opposed to putting so much towards work. So what's I don't know what the end goal is, and I don't know when I'll feel satisfied in that sense. So it's a scary thought, but also it's the thought that, or it's the mindset that drives me. So if I didn't have that, I don't think I'd be doing what I'm doing. I think I'd be working a 9 to 5, and not that there's anything wrong with that. I'd probably, if I didn't have this mindset, I think I'd be very happy with that. I'm jealous of that a lot of times. Even now, I'd love to go to work come home and not think about work and sit down and watch Netflix or like go hang out with my family or something and like relax my mind in that sense. It doesn't happen as an entrepreneur. It's very, very difficult. You either work the whole night because you got to get stuff done, or you're at least thinking about, how do I go about tomorrow? And how do I make sure all my employees are happy? Or how do I get the next job? Or how do I get this job done in time? Like there's just so many things that you're worried about, or at least not, it's not a worry. It's just like, this is my job. This is what I do. This is what I'm building. And you are the ultimate responsibility. It doesn't go past you. So if you're not worried about it, then it's probably not going to work. So I don't know that mindset has, I think, got me to where I am, but also is a scary one. So I think people need to understand if that's something they're willing to go through for themselves, if they're willing to sacrifice some life experiences and downtime to chase something like this. I don't know where I'm going with that, but I just think you have to know what you're getting into and be okay with it. Otherwise it could be you could have mental problems. Like it really could drive you crazy. Because it's a lot of work.
Well, just knowing you, I want to acknowledge that you've done a remarkable job of keeping that in check. Just knowing you outside of this, and bootstrapping this business, man. I've got to say it. I'm so proud to see where you've come, because it's remarkable what you've accomplished in such a short time, relatively speaking, even though it's felt like a while for you.
Yeah, that's funny. It's funny because I see other people and I'm like, oh, they're there already in 2-3 years, but it's like those 1%ers. And I'm like, that's that mindset where I'm like, I could be them. What am I doing? I'm taking too long. But thank you very much. I'm very proud of how I've done it and where I'm at. So thank you.
No question, you will be. We are almost out of time, and I have one final question. Let's say there's somebody that COVID hit them. They were riding high. COVID knocked them off their game, right? They're trying to figure this back out. Maybe they shared your mindset. What you're saying resonates, but they're feeling like, shoot, I lost that the last year or so.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any specific habits, routines, strategies that you practice on a daily basis that you think somebody could take away and start tomorrow?
Yeah, more mindset, and I don't know if it's a practice, but it's just the way I think. And I don't know if it's stubborn or stupid, maybe you could call it that, or maniacal, but like, I don't want to believe it. I don't want to believe that COVID's going to shut us down forever, and I don't think anyone does think they're going to shut down forever, but it certainly put a big hit on a lot of people and slowed us down. But I just can't sit there and believe that I'm going to succumb to whatever's happening in the world with this virus and let it stop me. And if I'm wrong, so be it. Let it stop me, but I'm not going to stop.
So good.
So, you know what I mean? So like, that's just a mindset. It's not something every day I'm like practicing it, but like, I believe that, and I don't care. I don't care if it stops me, it stops me, but I'm not gonna let it stop me until it like hits me in the face. And I'm not talking about like COVID hitting me, but like if it, like when the world shut down, that hit us in the face and I couldn't do anything. We couldn't go out and shoot. Nobody wanted to shoot anything. Like, we couldn't film anything. That stopped me. But the moment I could get back to it, I did. Like it didn't let it shut me down for good.
So good. Not going to believe it. Man, that's so good. All right. I want you to close it off. Where can people find you? How can they follow your work and be a fan of yours like I
am? Jersey Filmmaker. Everywhere, right? .com, @Jersey Filmmaker, Instagram, Twitter. I'm not very active on there, but you can find me on any of the platforms @Jersey Filmmaker. Go watch our show, I Am Athlete. That thing's taken off. We have a show on FS1 right now. If you're interested in football stuff, kind of Path to the Draft show. It's on every Wednesday night at 5:30. But mostly, if you're looking for me, Jersey Filmmaker, look it up.
It's awesome. Thank you, man. Thank you for being part of this. Really, really good.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
Talk soon.
See ya.